Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the Backyard Cricket England podcast. We have our two World Cup captains with us today. Brendan Scott, all the way from Sydney, Australia, and Ricky Borrett of England, who were captain of the World Cup final. And Brendan's got a nice little reminder for us there of who won that final.
Recognise this?
Well, no, we never got our hands on it, to be honest. We never saw it. So obviously, yeah, we've started off here at the final. Great tournament leading into this. Brendan, you guys were the hosts, obviously. Do you want to just talk us through that tournament? What were your memories of it? And what were you thinking leading into this final? Were you confident?
Brilliant tournament. As we spoke about in the previous segment, you guys really come of age in this tournament. You had the week before in the Ashes where, it didn't go to plan for you, but you definitely showed up in this tournament and, had us on the ropes a few times. You beat us comprehensively throughout the group stage. We had that classic super over match that I'm sure we could talk about through this as well. But look, great tournament, and thankfully we were able to get the job done. But no, you guys definitely pressed us.
Yeah, and obviously we're just looking at a recap of this tournament here, which is quite nice to catch ourselves up. It's been a couple of years now. Looking back on this, Ricky, obviously this is our first game against New Zealand. How did you think the group stage went? Because like Brendan says, we probably were the form team in that group stage, having had a bad Ashes. How were you feeling leading into this final? Did you think we had Australia's number, or were you sort of feeling could be in trouble here?
I'm surprisingly, happy with, how we play. I mean, we had that training session in the week after the Ashes. And, it was a bit of sort of like, we all sort of spoke about it and sort of, had a word with everyone. And everyone was obviously quite down about losing in the Ashes. And I thought, the training session we done in the week was good, and we responded really well, I thought. And I thought up until the final where, we weren't good enough and Australia were better, we were the best team in the tournament, I think, bar the final. Obviously, the final was important. You don't turn up, then you don't win, obviously. But, bar that, we were the best team. And, I think that's credit to all the players, to be honest, in our team, because we did take a battering in the Ashes and that was hard to take. And, I thought we responded really well, to be honest. And, credit to all the players because they all played their part.
What do you think the difference was from the Ashes the week before?
I think, what me and you spoke about before we got there was, even though the atmosphere was fantastic, the environment that the Aussies set was very, very good. The sort of when you go out to play, it's a hostile environment, and I don't think a lot of our players were ready for that. And we tried to drum it into the players. It didn't quite. It's not quite as you can drum as much as you want into players, but the experience of it, the actual experience, is never going to be the same.
Yeah, the problem is you can't really prepare for that.
Yeah, and I think the players kind of saw it, and the problem is, is some of our players, you need to G up. Some of our players you need to probably unnerve a little bit, and we didn't quite get that balance right of speaking to players differently. And I think it took people by surprise. And what I love about the WCG is how good it is off the pitch, but how serious it is on the pitch. I think it's fantastic, and I don't think the players it sort of hit the players like it just hit them, and before we knew it, we were trying to chase, what was it, 300 to make them bat again, or whatever it was, or 200. So I think the original answer is probably a bit of experience over the 2 days in the Ashes. And they knew what they were sort of coming in for then, the second weekend. And I think that's what probably made a difference. And our training session, obviously, we all sort of had a strong word with each other, and just to say, that weren't good enough. No one wants to be embarrassed like that. So I think that's probably the two main things. And I think our players responded so well. So, credit to everyone in the team.
How's this for an image as well, by the way? That bat throw of yours, that was one of the great images of that tournament.
I think that's haunted me that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. I think we got our new cricket club. Everyone said, "Oh, Sam's the bat thrower," and yeah, it was only the other day that someone was watching that one and go, is that you? And I was like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, some
Two
patrons
very
came out
different
that time.
circumstances, though.
You know what it was?
Yeah.
You know what? It seems like I'm right, you know, like a bit of a knob, but I was getting so much chip in that super over. I can't remember it was from. It might have been Riley. We won the toss and we bowled first. And I remember him coming up to me, and he went, "I think that's a bad decision, mate. No one bowls first." And then when we won, I was just like, it was almost like like we won. So
well, we won a victory too. I mean, like you guys were done. I think.
Yeah.
From memory, you might have needed 90 or 80 odd off about 50 balls. I think you guys are in big trouble. And then, as we'll talk about before, Sammy chimed in with 30 or 35. I think Crowther got maybe 15 or 20. And from nowhere, you guys, I remember being on the sidelines going, "Fuck, we're in trouble here."
Yeah,
what a game.
I was really.
Did you think the same thing here, Brendan? Sorry, this is a semi-final playing now, and obviously New Zealand here chasing about 140 were sort of 80 for none. Did you have similar feelings then here?
Yeah.
Do you think this was your tournament over without even reaching the final?
Yeah, McFarlane was on a mad one, wasn't he? So, you know, thankfully we got him out and we were able to roll through him. But yeah, that could have, if he batted for another 20 minutes, we could have been out of the game. So, you know. You
can see there, this is how the group stage went. It's amazing to think. We say that England were obviously by far the best team in the group stages, but we did finish level on points with you guys.
Well, there was a particular game that wasn't played that gave us a victory, but I don't know if you want to speak about that.
Well, we could touch on it quickly. I'll let you two both have your say on that, I guess, as the two captains on that tour. Brendan, do you want to start then and just tell us what happened very quickly?
Yeah, there was a conversation, I think you referenced it before, where, you know, the match, Matt wanted to get the tournament through, wanted to preserve the pitch. The result was already foregone. You guys were already in the final, and we'd have to play New Zealand in the playoff. So look, you guys wanted to preserve energy. It wasn't a bad thing from our point of view either. I'm not going to sit here. Obviously, we're going to give you shit about it because the Kiwis weren't happy, but mate, from our point of view, we had no problem with it.
Rick, how about you?
Yeah, I think. Do you know what? I was thinking about it the other day, and people were going, "Oh, you know, maybe we should have played because we were a bit cold in the final," and it was still, I still to this day think it was absolutely the right decision. We had four injuries. You got to remember is, you know, the Aussies had 15 players to rotate after 2 weeks of cricket. You know, even New Zealand, who came for one weekend, had, I think, a spare 1 or 2 players. You know, we had the bare 11 for 2 weeks, and that final, you know, I was one of them. I had, you know, something, I don't even know where it was. It was either my knee or my quad. It was somewhere around there. We had another, I think it was 2 or 3 injuries. We had a lot of injuries. So I think playing another game would have been stupid. And in the end, you know, had we have played that game with all the injuries and then lost the final, we'd be sitting here going, should have not played that game. So I think it was still the right decision. One thing I will say is I don't think we should have sat in the air-conditioned front room. You know,
I must admit, I was worried as vice captain when I walked into that room at one point. I saw 2 people sleeping, 2 people eating kebabs, a couple of people. Yeah. I mean, that wasn't the best prep.
That was probably the one thing I would sort of, you know, yeah, we can rest, but let's all stay outside and sort of, because it was hot. I think it was like 40 degrees, wasn't it? It's the hottest I've ever experienced in my life. So, yeah, that was probably the only thing I would say we got wrong. But I think initially, not playing the game, I think was still probably the right call with the injuries we had.
So the final started now here, England bowling first. And I guess the question for you, Brendan, after he'd had a sort of tough World Cup up to that point, how well did Severi play in this final?
Yeah, he got us away to a fly, didn't he? I think he did the same. I think I'm not sure if it was him or was Azar in the semi-final.
Azar, I think, got 50 in that game, didn't he?
Yeah. So it's Joey gets us away to a fly here, and you know the nerves, mate. That was good atmosphere. I remember, you know, our boys were starting to get chirpy and we're banging on.
It was the loudest you guys had been, and all you were doing was stealing songs that we'd been singing for 2 weeks and changing the names, wasn't it? It was the loudest you lot had been the whole time.
That's what every football team around the world has ever done. But no, you guys started. You started the banter, obviously, and we just reversed. But it was great. Yeah, we were just starting to get on top here. I think it was 20 odd without loss, and yeah, we just got away to the the nerve settling fly that we kind of needed.
Yeah, and Ricky, from your point of view, obviously we just spoke about the team being a bit cold coming into this game, having been off the field for about 4 hours at this point. But aside from that, where do you think we went wrong in these first 4 or 5 overs? Because my memory of this is that the first 4 or 5 overs we were pretty dreadful.
Yeah,
That's a lovely shot as well. Lovely shot.
I think credit to Severi, because I think me and you underrated him before we went. I don't think he was really one that. I think we took time to sort of have a look at everyone, but he wasn't really.
He wasn't one of the ones that was top of our list of fears. Yeah. He wasn't the one keeping us awake at night.
Exactly. So he batted really well, and I still we probably didn't bowl to him in the right areas, but he batted really well. I think where we went wrong, I think other than sort of sitting inside for an hour or so in the cold, I'd say probably in hindsight, maybe we probably got the bowling the wrong way round. Maybe we didn't bowl in the right areas to him.
You're about to come on now, so just tell us about this, because I thought the first innings of this final was brilliant. It was a really good innings, this one, and it changes here when you come on. Obviously, you're captain. Your team's been rubbish for 5 or 6 overs, 50 for none. What was going through your mind when you're bowling this over?
I think, to be fair, I was just trying to rough him up, to be honest. He had 4 or 5 easy overs, and I knew we had some good bowlers coming, and I just wanted to sort of get it up there and give him a bit, let him know.
I love that you're getting pissy at the umpire for that. That's one of the worst appeals ever.
No, by the way, hold up. One of them was out. I don't know which one it was. He's out there.
Yeah, he's out this time.
Been giving it to the crowd again. One of them hit his head, but he got so low down. I think it was hitting the stump.
Was that in one of the other games?
No,
I think that was this. Was it this one?
No, it was a little bit earlier. You could just see it earlier.
But he'd done it once before. But yeah, no. I mean, the original plan was to rough him up, maybe bowl a few at the stumps at the end of the over, which I ended up doing. And I knew the good decent bowlers were coming on, so I didn't have to worry too much, because at the end of the day, it's a limited overs game. I wasn't too worried about the wickets. It was more about keeping the runs down. We weren't going to get 10 wickets after the start we had. It was all about trying to keep the runs down from there, I think.
So, Brendan, you're in next after Joey Azar. Joey doesn't last too long. Obviously, you've been doing this a long time. You're pretty much regarded as the best batsman the WCG's had. But given the occasion here, any nerves from you at this point sitting watching? Knowing that you've got to come in and make a difference, and especially knowing that this guy, Yusuf, is bowling, because he had you in trouble in this World Cup, didn't he?
I was probably blind drunk by this time, but no, yeah, he did. He had a lot of us. He had a lot of us on toast. But yeah, that's the best thing about what we created, WCG. It's serious cricket, and for people tuning in, like it was a World Cup final. We treated it as a World Cup final. So yeah, there was obviously a lot of anxiety going into the middle. Always, as you walk into the middle, you go, right, it's a contest on this. So we'd have 2 for 60. So we'd had a good start, and it was a good platform to kind of walk in on. But yeah, we always wanted to win. Yeah,
here you are now, and it's quite a turnaround now, because 50 for none off 5 overs has become 60 for 2 off 10. So that early start has kind of levelled out. What are you thinking? Do you remember what you were thinking was past score? What you were looking for here? Do you remember?
So I told you I was blind drunk. I've missed 2 absolute sitters there. But I think.
Speaking of, Papa Dom hands.
Anything around anything around 150. I think 140 onwards. Anything under, I think, and obviously with the Super Over match that you guys beat us in. We thought that we'd have to get around 140, 150 to be, competitive. Otherwise, anything lower than that, 130s and below was kind of, and the pitch, to be fair, had flattened out by this stage as well. Oh, there we go, nicked off.
Ricky, what are you thinking here? Brendan saying sort of 140 plus then. Do you remember what your targets were at the start of the innings, or as the innings progressed, what you would have been comfortable chasing?
Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean,
look at Ricky giving it the big one. Look at him, the fucking prick.
I mean, I would. At this stage, I was thinking 150 if we could, but obviously Harry was coming in, and Harry's a really good batsman. I was thinking if we can get him early, maybe.
I think we drop him soon. I think we dropped him early, and he ended up getting a few. I think it might be this ball.
I don't think it does. Does he do too much damage? I think he might get.
I think he gets about 30. That's it. This is the drop. I think that was put down, and I think he ends up getting about 30 odd here. He was a good player, wasn't he, Harry Dean? What's his strength, Brendan? What makes him such a good player?
Just he's probably his cover drive, as you can see. But he's anything too short, he picks up length really well.
Yeah.
So anything over pitched, he puts away. But anything too short, he swivels and pulls it well. Mate, class act. Great picking up.
Harry was the only one I saw that on that pitch, because obviously it's a shorter pitch. Obviously the bounce in Australia is obviously more bouncy than we used to on our pitches. But he was the only one with the shorter pitch length that I saw that could pick up a quick. I mean, I bowled a short ball to him. I wasn't bowling dibbly dobblies, and he pulled me for 4 or 6, and he was the only one that I thought, you know what, if you bowl at his sort of head, he's going to pull you. Doesn't matter how quick you are. He was the only one that could pick up that kind of length, I think. And yeah, he was a very good batsman. But one thing quickly,
this is a big. So go on.
Yeah, one thing I was quickly going to say about like the seriousness of it. Yeah, I got asked the other day by someone in my cricket team who watched it, and he was like, they said, did they tell you to like put on like the seriousness? Oh, that's a good catch, Gert.
No, that was all on us, and we wanted that, and the Aussies obviously said they wanted that as well.
I said to him, it's people take it seriously. It's a serious thing, you know, and that's the beauty of it as well, you know. And that's a good catch from Gert.
Sorry, just quickly, Harry's made a lot more than I thought he did. I thought he might have made 12 or 15, but he's made nearly 30. That was an important knock for us.
And this is one of the other big turning points of that game. Gurpal Singh here, 2 wickets in 2 balls. I mean, Brendan, how much was he in Wodjick's head exactly by this point? Because it was getting bad for Wodjick against Gurps, wasn't it, at this stage?
Yeah, he's had a few issues against spin. Wodjick, it seems to be his kryptonite, but no, he was exposed. Mate, he's a fine batsman. He's been probably the form batsman of the last couple of years.
We saw what he could do. I mean.
But yeah, Gertz had him on toast, didn't he? A few times. I think there was I think it was the
super over game
where he padded up. He just did not pick him at all, and he padded up and was LB. So no, Gertz had him on toast here, and he got him cheaply again.
And again, this is an example of why I thought the first innings of this final was so good. Again, you saw the big partnership from Harry Dean, or big stand from Harry Dean, then 3 wickets quickly. Again, it kept turning, kept going backwards and forth. At this point, I'd say we're on top at 120 for 6. But then Daniel Arnold comes out, and it's his first 2 balls for 4 and 6. And he'd had a rough tournament, hadn't he, Brendan, up to that point? Did you say anything to him before this game? And why did you pick him? Was there a debate around his place in the team? Because he'd really struggled in the tournament.
Look, I always wanted him in the side because, look, moved him down from, I think he opened he opened for most of the Ashes, and I think he started that tournament up the top as well. We just moved him down the order to kind of shore him up. He's too good to drop. We just thought we'll just move him down the order and come in late. And he's done this a few times against the Kiwis. He did it in 2019 where he was a bit lower down the order and made some important runs. So in the limited over stuff. So he's done it here again. What's that? The 16 off 7. So
yeah, he didn't get many in this final, but it's the speed he racked him up at made a big difference. Yeah,
what's that, 17.3 over. So he's doing what he needs to do at the back end of the innings. So yeah, handy contribution, and yeah, it was never a thought of dropping it because he can bowl too. He's a great fielder, so it was just a matter of we might not be working up the top. Let's just get him down the order and shore down the lower order.
And that's a good nut as well there from Jake, isn't it? That Yorker bowls that well. Rick, what are you thinking here then?
He can bowl. He can bowl the slicer.
Yeah, Jake is a good bowler, mate. And Ant Mapleston now, Riley. I mean, he had a pretty tough day in this final, Riley, and we'll come to that later on, Ricky. I know you'll want to get to that later on. But talk to us first about Ant Mapleston, Rick, because obviously he was new. We didn't really know him. What did you make of him on this trip?
I met Ant. I think I played against Ant once, and I had met him once before he came to Australia. I actually met up with him was it a week ago or two? I think I met up with him while you were in America, actually. Lovely guy. I've got a lot of time for Ant. He's a really good. It's weird with Ant because I think in cricket, in normal cricket, he's a batting all rounder, and in backyard cricket, I think he's a bowling all rounder. So it's we had a discussion about that. I think he kind of agrees, but he's a fantastic guy. He great off the pitch, obviously a great player on the pitch. Good bowler. Good bat, good pair of hands. I love the guy. He's fantastic, and I consider him a friend now. He's a great guy.
Last ball of the innings coming up here. 142, the final score. Obviously, you two are the two captains. Who's happier right now?
That's probably par for us. That's where I think anything above 140 you're happy with. So that for us, it's you feel you're in the game.
Yeah, I was. Do you know what? I thought that was a chaseable total. I think we probably needed 2 or 3 people to probably score 30 or 40. So yeah, I thought we've got the people to do that. A number of us have shown that we can score them runs there. So I thought we could chase that. I think it wasn't. The game wasn't over by then. I think we were quite confident we could chase that. This is quite funny.
Now, this is a little BC favourite. Now, Brendan, you actually mentioned to me off camera earlier on that you'd watched all of our coverage of the World Cup apart from the final. So am I right in saying you maybe haven't seen this?
No, I have not.
You should watch this with the sound on. It probably won't land as much without the sound, but that sounds bat throwing. Rick, just tell us about the video editing on Backyard Cricket England. I mean, what do you make of things like this, the winner and binner and the graphics we have? Where do you think we rank in terms of backyard teams around the world as far as the editing goes?
I think obviously if you put the pitch aside for 1 minute, obviously that's obviously going to change. I think from your point of view, I mean, people can see our first video to the one that you've created here, which is
come a long way, isn't it? Come a long way.
Completely different, and it's it's fantastic. I know you don't really like the winner and binner. I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. I enjoy it as much as watching the cricket. So yeah, it's Jake's face there is funny, but it's I love it. And the editing, we spoke about the ideas that we're gonna come up with when we get our venue next year. And it's exciting because I think we're going to smash it, but hopefully not too well.
Brendan, how about you? Because obviously you're everything for 10 years has come up on your channel. How many of your boys were watching our coverage of this tournament, or did you guys not really get too involved in it?
I can't speak for any other boys, but I loved it. I think your coverage and your editing was top notch. Really enjoyed it. I think we went a different way. We were trying to focus more on the live stuff. Probably we're a camera or two shy in hindsight of getting some highlight clips, but I kind of went for a bit of a highlights package as to the usual editing stuff that I used to do. But no, this is brilliant, mate. Your match play editing was fantastic. The replays, the use of camera angles was brilliant, and I'm going to have to watch this on.
Yeah, you'll need to watch this with sound on for it to land. Maybe not this bit. Maybe not this bit. I'm glad we haven't got any sound for this because this is not my finest hour. But I think you've seen that, Brendan. We sent you a video before the tour, which is this. Yeah. And it's me basically drunk out my nut saying, because you'd nicked off, you had a thing on Sunrise with Matt White and you nicked him off on the live breakfast TV. That video is me saying, well, it doesn't matter what happens in this tour. Our opener ain't going to nick off for naught on live TV. And then I did.
You are screaming.
And then I did it again. And then I did it again.
That's brilliant.
Not my finest moment.
No, you guys nailed it. You guys really nailed the coverage. It was brilliant. And only the start. Brendan, more cricket.
Are you doing for your obviously like new channel? Are you doing like lives or what? Or
yeah. So what's the plan for the editing going forward?
We'll start. Yeah, we won't start with lives. I think it'll be a bit of a hybrid of what I did for this series with the highlights package, but there will be commentary over it. But it will be smaller than what we might have been used to in the past. So they'll just be more condensed highlight, but there'll be graphics. It won't be live, at least for the start. I think that's just the way to go for us.
Yeah, so we're back to the final. Yeah, so sorry, Brendan, mate. So we're back to the final now. Ricky, I just wanted to ask you about this. This was a bit of a surprise. Jakey Butler opening the batting.
Yeah, no, the way we looked at it is, Jake was kind of sort of with his batting was sort of hit and miss. He was getting hold of some, getting quick 20 and 30. Sometimes it wouldn't come off. And we just sort of felt, you know what, if we can get off to if Jake can hit a quick 20 or 30 and it comes off, then it puts us in a really strong position for the rest of us. So obviously it didn't work out.
No, it didn't. But I'm going to ask you about that, Brendan, as well, because we weren't the only ones who sprung a surprise. That's the first time Mickey Maybury had opened the bowling on the entire tour. Why did you go with Mickey Maybury?
I'd love to tell you. I can't remember the thinking, to be honest. I'm not sure. Look, I've always backed Maybury's bowling. He was, on a heater during that tournament. I think he was a leading wicket. Well, he might have not been the leading wicket taker up until that point, but I think he ends up getting 3 in this final.
Oh, he bowled brilliantly in this final.
But I've always backed his. But I can't tell you. I can't remember why he opened the bowling. It might have been to just get his over out of the way and get the nervousness out of the way, or maybe it might have been a matchup against Jakey, but I can't remember. But there's another one down there that goes Crowther.
Well, that's an interesting one as well, because that's Stepien there. So where we speak about selection, you went with no spinner in this game. Bolling and Kasacha both missed out. Stepien played. Do you want to talk us through that decision? Why no spinner when they played all the way through the tournament up to then?
It's just I think it's a thing in the limited overs. It just works out that the spinner just would go for a bit of tap. It just felt that way. That I think we were better just having the medium paces, being able to put on some pressure, and I think it kind of worked out in this final where we're able to bowl. Everyone kind of turned up and bowled well, and I think that's just our strongest side. If we've got a spinner, there was a bit of a look. You're at the mercy of the gods at the WCG. It's a small field, and if you're a spinner and you get the length wrong, you can go the journey. And I think there was a couple of times where they might have gone for a bit extra. So I just thought we'd be able to tighten the screws a bit more with a medium pace kind of. Hit the deck, bowl the length, and kind of force you to do something you didn't really want to do.
That's such a soft dismissal that from Yusuf as well, and I think this is where the verbals start, because it does get a little bit heated later on in this final. Ricky, again, I'll ask you the same question.
Just quickly, you saw there he was out for 11 off 22 balls. So it's 3 for 19 after 5 overs, and the screws are just starting to turn. The run rate's just starting to.
No question, you guys are on top here. Yeah, no question. You especially now. I mean, Mickey Johnson had some final, didn't he? He didn't do a lot in that tournament, but then again, 3 wickets in the final. Ricky, you're coming in now, and again, same question I asked Brendan when we did the first innings. How are you feeling now about to come in? You're obviously Sam in at the minute. How are you feeling knowing you're about to bat in a world final and we're 20 for 4 here?
I think the way I looked at it was, I mean, I was pretty badly injured, to be honest. I mean, that's not really an excuse, but I hurt myself on the bowling. I don't know if you can see it on there, but there's a massive crater on the bowling mark, and it was just getting worse and worse. And yeah, the landing was, I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but my quad was basically hanging on by a thread. But yeah, the way I looked at it was I think Sam in now, isn't it?
Yeah, Sam now, yeah, but you're about to come in now, I think.
Yeah, I think the way I looked at it is I need to bat the whole 20 overs, and if I do, we win the game. I think that's the way I looked at it, really. I think, yeah, that's basically how I looked at it. I said I'm going to try and bat the whole 20, and I tend to start slow, but once I get in, I work my way into it and catch up. So. Yeah, I think that was really the strategy when I came in. Try and bat the whole. I know it sounds quite selfish, but try and bat the whole 20 overs, and if I do that, we've got half a chance.
Well, the key is coming up in a moment then. So the story of this innings for you, really, Rick, and for the game, was a bit of hostility that came in between you and the Aussies, particularly between you and Riley Cornforth. I'll just ask you, Brendan. Riley's about to come on to bowl. How was his mood before this? Did you have any idea of what was coming between these two in a moment? What was, did you have any inkling this was going to happen?
No, he's always worn his heart on his sleeve, but I've got to apologise to young Riley because I thought he was at fault here, but he doesn't. He's not. Big Rick has just run straight at him and is the aggressor. Is clearly the aggressor here. And if the match referee got involved, mate, I reckon Ricky would be suspended for 3 matches.
Ricky, do you want to answer that? This is the moment where it starts, actually. So that goes for 6, but Riley doesn't realise, and there's a send-off. Ricky, talk to me about this moment.
Yeah, well, I think I was just trying to wind him up. I think if I wanted to, I knew his head was going. I was hitting him for boundaries left, right, and centre, and I think I wanted to basically wind him up. Then it will distract Brendan and a few others from doing what they should be doing. And that was really the mess. That was really what I was trying to do, really.
Well, that's when all this starts now.
Yeah.
I think Daniel Arnold was quite heavily involved in this as well. Do you remember what anybody was actually saying to you while you're out there, or was it just a normal kind of gibbering that you get?
No, to be fair, I don't think any of the other Aussies, the other Aussies weren't really saying anything that I felt was out of order. So no, it was nothing. I don't think they were obviously, trying to, get me out and stuff like that. But it wasn't, I didn't feel like anyone said anything out of order or anything. And to be honest, I wasn't really that annoyed at. I know it looks it, but I wasn't really that annoyed at Riley. It was just I was just trying to wind him up, and you'll see that at the end of the game, I was absolutely fine with him. But I would say with the run out, with the running into him when you see it, is actually people were saying on the day that I couldn't run because it had hit the net. Now, it didn't. I looked at this. It didn't hit the net. It hit the fence, which I believe gives me the top entitlement to take a single. It never hit the wicketkeeper. So
is it now? I think it's this, isn't it? Yeah.
You can't see it now, but
he's come off second best there, Riley.
And actually, he does run in my path as well. So he was wrong to do it, but I'm glad he done it because I had good fun winding him up, and it was a good laugh. And it fired me up.
Brendan, how do you deal with a situation like that as captain?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, mate. Can you hear us? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll carry on with you for a moment, Rick, until we get Brendan back. Just talk to me about where your head's at after that incident with Riley. It must have fired you up a bit.
Yeah, do you know what? I was quite calm, to be honest. It wasn't. I know it looks quite chaotic, but I hadn't lost my head at all. I know a few of the Aussies lost their head a little bit. I don't quite know why, because we're not really on top. But I was just, I was just enjoying. You know me. You've played cricket with me for years, Alex. I love it when, when there's a bit of a contest. There's nothing I like more, to be honest. It was, it's like a duck in water, really. It was, I enjoyed it, and it was, it was. I enjoyed the contest, and it was great. It was just a shame that we couldn't, I couldn't bat a little bit longer, unfortunately. But
yeah, it was. I think we've just lost Brendan, so I'll leave it up to you, Rick. Should we pause it and wait for him? Yeah, could you? Well, I think we'll just enjoy watching you smoke. That's gone for 6, by the way. I think this gets given us 4, but I reckon that's gone.
Another bad umpiring decision.
So while we wait for Brendan, then we'll just sort of talk about where we're at in the game here. So it's 80 for 5. You're 45 not out, but obviously the elephant in the room from your perspective here is that run rate is still climbing. It's 62 off 6 overs now. Where do you remember at the time where you're thinking in terms of probability? Are you thinking we're in trouble, or are you thinking I've still got this?
A bit of a mixture, to be honest. I think I still at this stage think that if I can stay in up until the end, I still think we can win. Because I felt very good out there. However, the Aussies were the problem. This is the problem me and you have spoken about the difference between us and the Aussies was they just didn't have any bowlers that
they had no one you could take for 20.
No,
reliably.
And all these shots that you see on here going for 4 and 6 these were all risky shots. Like I knew I was taking a chance. Like any of these could have got me out. And that was the problem, is these were all very high risk shots. And eventually one was going to probably not come off. You know, it wasn't like you could take someone for 15 or 20 and over. There was no one. So it was very, very difficult for me. But I still sort of maintain that if I stayed in, you know, we had a chance. But, and by the way,
sorry, lads, I'm back.
Yeah, I was about to ask Brendan, can you hear us, mate?
Yeah, I'm back. My AirPods died, so I just threw everything out of whack. So now I'm back. I've just put it on the normal sound. So you get me?
Yeah, we got you, mate. So we just paused it for you while you were gone. I just wanted to ask you about that incident between Riley and Ricky. How, as a captain, do you manage something like that when you can feel things getting heated and you've got a player maybe suffering a bit of a head loss? How do you deal with that?
I remember saying to him, listen, if you don't pull your head in, you can go off. But look, I've got to apologise to him, because I think it was a bit of an accident. He's gone to go chase the ball and he's turned away. As he turns back, you're coming down the pitch. So I don't think he's run it yet, but have you got the footage again? Can we have a look?
We could go back, yeah. I think it was a bit ago now. Was that it there, I think? Oh, no, that's the original one, the send-off. I think it might be now.
I think he throws.
Yeah,
gets the ball. He throws it.
I think he's going to get the ball, isn't he? Really?
Yeah. So Ricky is clearly the aggressor there.
Rick.
Well, I don't think me running in the middle of the pitch trying to get a run is being aggressive. But look, for me, I know it looks a bit feisty, but for me, I wasn't actually that annoyed. I was just trying to wind him up.
Do you remember what Daniel Arnold's saying to you here?
Yeah, so he was trying to, bless him, he was trying to calm it down, but he was basically trying to say to me that there weren't a run because it hit the wicket keeper, which we all knew the rule. If you throw it at the auto wiki, you can't run. But you can't really see it on here. But if you actually go and watch it normally, you see actually Riley's throw actually hits the fence, which means that Brendan will have to double check with that, but it then means you can run, right? It's an overthrow.
No, generally, it's usually for the other end. It's usually that it doesn't matter if the throw hits. Once the throw hits a fence, it's dead. Yeah, I'd say it's probably the same for the other end. But yeah, look, either or, mate. It was all handbags, wasn't it? But it was good. Yeah. It was good, tough cricket. The match was on the line.
And then you dropped him here, Brendan. What are you thinking here? That one's gone straight to the floor.
I'm thinking, fuck, here we go. I mean,
are you worried at this point with him on 40 not out? The run rate is still huge. It's 60 off 6 overs here or whatever. Are you worried Ricky, still?
Yeah, as long as Ricky was at the crease, there was always a chance he was going to get the bizzo done. And so next ball goes for 4. Of course it does. And yeah, you're starting to think, well, you know, if anyone's going to get him home here, it was Ricky. So no, it was. Look, this is a World Cup final. You know, both countries trying to win it. You know, it was tense cricket. What an occasion. It was great.
I thought it was great. I enjoyed it so much. I thought the contest was fantastic. And everyone asks about, you know, or was it really serious like that? It's just passionate sport, you know. By the way, that's the worst ball.
That's the worst ball you faced in that innings, Rick.
I hit so many better balls for 4 and 6.
Brendan, I'll let you take the lead here because I thought this was probably the decisive moment of the entire game was Mickey Maybury's over here.
So he goes bang bang, doesn't he? But he gets
it's not just the fact that he goes bang bang; it's that he's getting captain and vice captain out, and probably our 2 best batsmen, bang bang, in the same over. I mean, this delivery he's about to bowl here, this is just stonking, isn't it? You remember this?
Just stay below.
Yeah, and he came back in. Remember, he's bowling round the wicket, and that's it middle stump on a back of the length angle. It just jagged back.
Was that first ball?
I think it's third ball. But I mean, bear in mind the angle he's bowling at round the wicket. That should be getting cut. That should be going wide outside off.
You got to get forward to that, don't you?
Yeah, probably. But
he bowled very well, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, I thought he was the difference in the final. I mean, he got 3 for about 5 or something. I mean,
when he's on, he's tough work. But yeah, we just started to run threes now.
Yeah, it didn't last too long after this, unfortunately. It became a bit of a procession. That double strike did pretty much kill the game.
I think
that big moment was getting Ricky. As soon as we got Ricky, you think, you know, he probably needed to get his within striking distance. He probably needs 30 more, maybe 20 more to get you over the 100 mark.
It always felt like we were a couple of wickets behind as well, really, where we wanted to be. But yeah, talk to me about this, Brendan, because we know the game's pretty much done now. What's this feeling like? Sort of last few overs, marshalling the troops, almost not certain, but pretty much knowing you're going to win. This must be a good feeling, these last couple of overs here.
Yeah, better feeling than when Ricky was at the crease, I can tell you that much. But yeah, I think I remember thinking, right, if we just cut, we shouldn't be bottling this from here. But it's never done until you get the final wicket. So I think who's that at the crease? It's Connor, yeah. And then
I think we still have Jimmy Maguire to come. Yeah.
What's that? That's 13 balls to go. There's 40 odd to get. You're thinking, come on, let's sort it out. I remember getting the shits here at Azar because he loves bowling little dolly slower ball, and I'm just thinking, why? What are you doing?
He's played it nicely, Connor, hasn't he? Good shot.
But look, what's that? 40 to get off 12. Yeah. If you lose them, we're pretty confident from here, but we just wanted to get those last couple of wickets and get it done.
Rick, the feeling for you at this point, last couple of overs, knowing it's kind of slipping away here, and you've just batted, just got out.
Disappointed, I think, but at the end of the day, I think I don't think enough of us stepped up with the bat. I also think, like we touched on earlier with the Aussies, they didn't really have anyone that went. I mean, you have the stats more than me, Alex, but I don't think any of the Aussies really went for more than 4, 5 and over, really. And a few of our bowlers went for a bit, and I think that was probably the difference between the two sides, to be honest. And also, we didn't step up with the bat. I don't think anyone, I should have probably stayed in and seen us home. But once I'm out, there was not really much resistance, and I just felt, no one really wanted to take responsibility of the situation. So I think we've only got ourselves to blame, and I think as well as we did play up until the final, I think at the end of the day, the final's the final, isn't it? And fair play to the Aussies. They all stepped up, and we just weren't good enough, unfortunately. But hopefully that's a learning curve for the players that are going to play for us in the future.
Brendan, talk us through this moment, mate. This moment belongs to you.
Yeah, it was brilliant. All the boys, you can see all the boys happy as Larry there.
Do you remember this exact moment, what that feeling was like? Do you remember this team huddle on the pitch?
Yeah, it was everyone, everyone's drunk by then. It's hot. We've been tested, to be fair, we've been tested, and we had the semi-final where we got through, and then we got the business done here. All the boys were happy and got the business done, and we're world champions. Just in case you need a reminding.
Yeah, you certainly are. And that trophy, Ricky, is that trophy on its way to England anytime soon?
I don't know about the World Cup. The Ashes, certainly. I think we'll get that back first, and then we'll go from there, I think. But yeah, I think hopefully that's the aim, and I think the next time we play, it will be I think the Aussies will. If they come over to us, they'll kind of experience the troubles that we had, which is the jet lag. You ain't got the luxury of dropping people or swapping people or.
Well, it's just getting there first, getting 10 people who are willing to come. I mean, that was most of the battle, wasn't it? But how do you reflect on that, Rick, now? Because you were the lead organiser of that tour and the captain of it. It's been a couple of years now since this game and since this trip. How do you look back on it, memories of the trip and sort of that whole project, the whole process over 4 years? How do you sit back and reflect on what you achieved, what we achieved as a group?
Well, yeah, I think first of all, you got to give credit to all 10 players that played for us, because the effort that everyone, the sacrifices and the effort and the money, the time that people put into to go over there, I think you have to give everyone credit for that, because it was a massive effort, wasn't it? And when we got there, it was fantastic. We spoke about it a million times that the Aussies were fantastic hosts, and the venue was fantastic, and it was just a great time, wasn't it? Obviously the results obviously disappointing, but the trip itself was fantastic, and I think a lot of people have learned a lot of lessons going to Australia, so life lessons and stuff like that. So it's a fantastic experience overall. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we almost hold a special place, really, in that sense, in the fact that the WCG obviously is no more. They've moved on to BCA now, but we were kind of, apart from New Zealand, who are sort of local neighbours, we were the only UK team to cross continents, do that whole world trip just for backyard cricket. So we kind of were unique in that sense. Brendan, how about you, mate? Reflections on this World Cup, reflections on being the champions, on your own performance, 10 years of work at the WCG. How do you look back on this?
Fondly. What a tournament. It was a great tournament. As we spoke about before, he's probably a bit short of a gallop the week before, but he's definitely turned up here, made us fight, and it made the victory even more sweeter. But yeah, what a tournament. I mean, the amount of highlights that we were able to generate from this tournament alone, the great innings, the great bowling performances, some great catches, some great matches. Yeah, fantastic. And, as we've spoken about as well, a decade of the WCG was, fondly and loved it. We move on to different things now, but what a time this was. Well, great couple of weeks.
Yeah, it certainly was, wasn't it? Well, thank you both very, very much for joining us. The big trophy moment is coming up in a second, Brendan. So I'll let you talk us through that and close us out. Ricky, it's been great having you with us, and we'll see you again on the podcast soon. Brendan, all the way from Sydney, thank you very, very much for joining us, and we'll let you have the last word. Do you want to just talk us through this trophy lift that's coming up here? Also,
Thanks,
do you want
boys.
to tell us, by the way, why you got Tamati Kemp to do this presentation maybe as well, rather than sort of one of the England boys or one of your own boys?
Oh, I think to get you guys after he's just been beaten to do it, I think pretty, it was probably fair that a neutral would do it.
I think he was a great guy, wasn't he, Tamati?
Oh yeah, champion, big boy too. Look at him, he's big lump of a lad.
Here you go then, Brendan. This is your moment. How are you feeling now, and what was this moment like? Close us out with this.
Relieved and exhausted, but very happy. Tamati spoke well here, and I'm just like, give us a trophy, bud. Let's get it sorted. But no, a culmination of a great tournament. Cricket's the winner at the end of the day. Backyard cricket's the winner at the end of the day. But great scenes, great memories. And listen, this is only the beginning. We'll have another World Cup. We'll have another Ashes tournament. And watch this space.
Yeah, we certainly will. Australia, the backyard world champions. Brendan and Ricky, thank you so much. For all of you at home, if you're watching on the BCE podcast, the full version of this chat will be available in a couple of days' time. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Brendan, Ricky, we'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you.
Cheers, guys. We'll speak soon.
See you later.
Thanks, boys.
What is this peasant stuff? Come on.